Hey guys, well, we've had a lot of people ask us what the Coast Guard asked for when we were boarded a couple weeks ago in Port Arthur, Texas, and I'm going to share with you what happened and what we had and how it went. So one of the things that they ask for is your documentation. Okay, so that's going to be this paper right here. This is the certification of documentation. They will ask for this. So what I've always done is I've had this along with, so for example, I had renewed this, but I haven't gotten a new one yet. So I brought my email showing where I renewed it and that I paid for it and that I was just waiting on it. So they accepted this. I also had this, which was expired in 2022, but they were okay because I did have the new one that I had already paid for. I keep, of course, my Tupperware. I keep my large Tupperware container on board with that paperwork. We had just bought our dinghy, so I brought the paperwork of the bill of sale and the receipt and the manual and all that for the dinghy that we had just purchased because we haven't been able to get it registered yet. We have all of our, just extra flags, stickers, safety, our tow boats, membership to U.S. boats. I just have all of my very sacred documents in this. I like it because it's liquid airtight and it's waterproof, so it will float if anything were to ever happen. So just a side note, that's where I kept all this. So they did ask for this and we had it. They also asked for fire extinguishers. You're supposed to have two, and so we have one here, and I'll show you the other one when I go upstairs. They also went down in the engine room, which is located in here, and they checked for water coming in and an excessive amount of oil that could possibly be leaking. They literally took the top off, went inside, turned the light on, looked around, and said everything looked good, and they got out. They also wanted to know where my plaque was for the discharge of oil. And I knew, as a good first mate knows where everything's at, I knew that it was in the lazarette. So I opened this door, it's right on the wall in there, and I showed him that. I also was asked where our plaque is for the discarding of waste, and it is located in our guest room, actually behind a wall. I told him that it was under there and that I offered to go in there and remove it because we have 1,000,002 things in that room because we're traveling for so long. He graciously and nicely said, you know what, I believe you. I'm not going to make you take all that stuff out of there, but you might want to get one that you can just mount in the bathroom. So I'm going to order a plate that I can buy off of Amazon, and I'm going to mount that in the bathroom. That way it's a little bit easier next time. The other things that he asked for, we're going to go upstairs and I'll show you those. But two guys, just so you know, two guys boarded us. We were pulled over in the port and they were super nice. They were on a small boat and they came up and there was about 5 of them, and 2 of them got onto the boat and the other ones drove their boat and allowed Sean to keep driving at a very slow idle speed, and they followed us. And that way Sean kept driving. I was the one in charge of showing them around, and everything went really, really smooth. They had one guy filling out paperwork and the other guy asking me and showing me and telling me. So the other things that they asked for, here's the other fire extinguisher. We actually zip tied and mounted it onto the rail. They asked for this, our little life raft with our 100-foot cord, which we had. And we also had to show where our air horn is, and we had it sitting right behind Sean, so that was perfect. And then we had to show that we had at least 2 life jackets, which I have our dinghy 2 life jackets always right there, very easy to get to. And then, let me think, what else I think that's about all that they asked for. The other thing that they asked when they first got on the boat was they asked the captain a question. And Captain, what did they ask you?
They asked if we had any guns on board.
Any guns?
And of course I have one on me, and I have some down below. The only thing they cared about is I left it holstered, left it alone, and that's all they cared about.
Yeah, he was super nice. Sean told him, yes, I have one. He was like, okay. So he did ask me because he knew where he knew we had firearms. The first thing I had to show him is where the firearms were at. And I was able to open the cabinet, show him where they were kept, and he asked me just to leave them in there. And of course I said, no problem, you got it. So So that's pretty much all that they asked for. The other thing that they gave us is this right here, this yellow piece of paper. And we did get 100% flying with colors report. We did amazing. And I did have to give them my driver's license. So I did have to show my ID. And let's see, this paper, he said technically if we were boarded again in any area, that the Coast Guard would accept this paper for at least 6 months and would not have to check us again. He said most Coast Guard agents would accept it after within the first year. So he said just keep that paper. So I literally am putting this paper with my other documentation in that Tupperware cabinet container I showed you. That way I don't have to go through that. Honestly, it was an easy, very, very nice experience. They were super friendly. If you've watched our video where I videoed them leaving our boat, they were super nice. So it worked out really well, and we passed. So those are the things that they're going to ask for, and you just got to make sure you have them.
And the reason they gave us that yellow paper and told us to present to the next Coast Guard guy is they don't want us to be boarded 2 or 3 times a year, and it gets annoying, and we don't even want to boat because it's annoying. So that's a good philosophy, you know, because we used to go to Lake Conroe, they would check us, you know, they would check us all the time, and after a while it gets kind of old, you know, getting the same checkout. But this one was they're easy to deal with.
Yeah, that was the game warden, I guess.
Yeah, as long as you have your stuff together. If you don't have your stuff together, it probably wouldn't be so easy.
Yeah, it was super easy. And I told in the video where we talked about it from our trip going from Texas to Florida and back, I talked about how months prior to that trip, Sean kept saying, well, we need this and we need that and we need this. And I'm like, we're not going to get boarded by the Coast Guard. That doesn't happen. First day or second day on our trip leaving Texas, we got boarded, which I thought was stinking amazing. All right, guys. Well, have a great day, and I hope that's helpful.